Hello and welcome everybody. It is the last game of the day here on day 1 of week 4 for the 10-10 LPL Summer. My name is Pastry Time. I'm going to be joined by Papa Smithy, and it's Young Glory versus LMQ to take us home for the first day.
Young Glory on their first wave of momentum this LPL. 2 wins in a row at the end of week 3. And you have to say, we've seen 2 Shyvanas today. Both of them have been on the losing team. Will Young Glory finally get a chance to show us what the Shyvana pick's all about?
We'll have to see here as Orianna, Jarvan and Twisted Fate, the first few bans here for YG. LMQ going with Elise and Ryze actually as their first 2 there. And of course there's plenty of other champions they could ban out. So we'll see what they want to go for the last one here. Definitely considering their final ban here very, very carefully. This is almost always the case when you're giving away first pick. And which champion do they want to give away? There's plenty of ones they can, but of course they get the choice of banning out one of them as well. And it is going to be Zac there as the final ban.
Yeah, a lot of strong champions available right here. Wouldn't be surprising to see Twitch as a first pick. You know, he's kind of developed into that catch-all AD carry choice that really wins lane, suits many different team comps, and is super strong. I mean, the Shyvana pick we've talked about. Probably going to see it again this game, you'd have to say. I mean, given the popularity of Shyvana around the scene, and maybe done best here, but Thresh is the eventual lock-in.
Yep, want to go for that nice aggressive support pick, so pick up Thresh too as their first pick. LMQ here. What do they want to answer back with? I mean, Thresh, you kind of know what's going on with Thresh, but definitely plenty more questions on the YG side. When he first picks support, especially someone like Thresh, it's like, okay, that's a good aggressive support, but it really feels like the least of your problems most of the time. And looks like LMQ going to go with Lee Sin. Lee Sin seeing a lot of play today, actually, here in week 4. And looks like Kennen might be the next champion they settle on as well.
I mean, Thresh is such a lane-dominating champion. He's strong also in a 2v1 situation, you know. Blitz really struggles in a 2v1 situation. He has that hook ability, of course, but in a 2v1 situation, he's a melee champion, so he really struggles to help fast push down turrets. We see the insta-lock of Shyvana there. But Thresh, he has a ranged auto attack to go along with the initiation potential he brings. So he's always a very, very popular pick.
Yeah, that was a lightning fast lock there as well from Sizz. Clearly knows what he wants to be
picking
playing
for
this
himself
game.
Also.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, guys, my pick, Shyvana, go. And he seems like, oh, what else do we pick? I guess we pick Twitch.
Speaking of insta-locks, Avenger very happy
Oh
with,
my goodness.
And this is a very fast draft. After that, you know, the 6th ban was super slow, but people know what they want to play, apparently.
Yeah, you know, Dreams was like, hey, I don't want to pick this cannon, I'm not too sure, but LMQ were like, okay, that's their bottom lane. Instantly, we want Vayne Nami, and wow, they've really, really turned that up. They actually may have wanted Nami Twitch, funnily enough, but they're like, yeah, they took Twitch, we'll take Nami, we'll take Vayne, sorry, that's fine. And a kind of a weak lane together, but if you can get farm, it's just a very powerful late game lane.
And here is the Zyra mid Pastry Time that Young Glory do break out. And you'll notice, what can you say about what Young Glory pick in terms of solo laners, and even in this case, bottom lane champions with the Shyvana? You have so much CC available from Zyra, especially at 6 when she gets that knock up as well. The taunt available in top lane. Thresh is a wonderful champion to gank for. CC in the lanes with a damage ganker like Shyvana, super, super strong.
And the last pick of Kassadin here is quite interesting for Xiao Zhao, but he's played it a couple of times already in the LPL. Clearly wants to go at it again, and I think probably a fine matchup there against Zyra, although I almost, especially with a champion like Thresh and a champion like Twitch, expect that to be a 2v1 in mid.
If it does end up being a 1v1, I'd love to see Zyra's runes, just because hybrid penetration at a minimum here, but Zyra has so much harass, you know. Even from level 1, she has that 575 auto attack range. Her Q does respectable damage. Once you get access to the plants, you can really, really punish the Kassadin early. But if it was that 1v1 lane, which, as you say, we probably won't see, Kassadin will probably outscale once he gets, you know, a few more levels, towards level 7 and 9. It'd be a pretty comfortable lane for Kassadin.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kassadin is one of those champions where if he ever gets a healthy amount of farm and he gets towards the late game, then you really do have to watch out. He's very scary once he gets going. I guess the only issue I have with 2v1 in Kassadin is that I don't know how Zyra does in the other situation. She's very, very squishy and potentially prone to getting killed. Although, if it's against someone like Vayne Nami, probably not going to die. It's just, in that case, then Vayne actually ends up getting the farm that they want in that lane. So, there's kind of a lot of choices here for YG, how they want to land up against LMQ, because you kind of want to punish 2 different lanes here. It's like you want to punish the dual lane and you want to punish the mid lane.
And the Shyvana damage ganks against a melee laner, you know, if she can hit the CC, if the Zyra CC comes in, in a 1v1 situation will be very strong, but of course once Cassidy gets that Rift Walk, Shyvana's ganking pressure to mid will be pretty minimal. I mean, the Rift Walk is on about this, I believe, the 7 second cooldown at level 1, so there is that window to do some counter damage, but again, the lane matchups here will tell us a lot about the team's thinking.
Yeah, and of course will determine a lot of how the early game is going to play out as well, which will change plenty here with the champions that we've got. But YG going to group up aggressively here. No Name doesn't really know what's going on this time. Throws out a Q. Does not spot anyone.
Unfortunately, their auto was outside the brush when they were considering the invade. So not the most sneaky of ninjas.
Certainly not. No.
It was like, hey, oops.
I forgot how to be a ninja for a second. I apologize. But I mean, they might still go here, just get some wards down if they want. Thresh actually warding up towards the left-hand side of the map there, so going to get some vision out
and then I can't think of the Oceanic Championship. We actually saw this same combination. The Cassidy and Lee Sin was neutered by a lot of strong invades to Lee Sin and keeping Lee Sin down. Maybe we'll see the same thing here.
That's true. Oh, looks like he's going to walk in. Nami's like, uh-oh, I know what's happening now.
Cassidy needs that jungle pressure early to either help him clear waves or to gank for him, because obviously super, super weak till 6. Lee Sin, an ideal champion to do that, but just don't give him a free ride in the jungle can really help out for Young Glory.
Yeah, and looks like YG going to do exactly that. They're auto going to go back run towards top lane. We could see a re-invade here from LMQ of their own blue, but looks like YG pretty much committed to starting off this blue buff now. And looks like the LMQ guy's going to walk over to the other blue buff here, and they'll happily give that to Lee Sin instead. Be curious to see if Shen checks it, and if so, if he's able to get anything done. But I don't think so as the buffs pop up now. So, No Name here, going to start it off with Dreams. Shen probably will check, doesn't even bother. Just like, yeah, they probably have it, it's fine. But blue buff goes to Shyvana there as well, of course, and Sis picks that one up very, very quickly.
So no two champions in the mid, so they will go for this 1v1 matchup. It's going to be an exercise in just being patient and not being frustrated here for Zhao Weizhao, because those early levels against Sarah with so much harass and a ranged auto attack, no fun.
No, Cassidy is going to absolutely hate this lane. If he gets snared, he's going to take a ton of damage. Plants are irritating. Just everything's bad right now for Zhao Weizhao. I mean, but pretty much the first 3 levels are absolutely awful and doesn't really get better until you hit 6. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, it's kind of the thing where it feels like as much as you want to try and punish Cassidy, I think Zyra is just a little weak in a 1v2 and probably is fine, especially early on against Cassidy here. Be interesting to see if that lane matchup changes significantly. You know, once Cassidy does hit 6, it probably will, because, hey, that's kind of Cassidy's strong point where he really starts to get things going. But the invade there, you know, kind of did its job, but didn't actually disrupt No Name really anyway from getting buffs.
Sure, we don't see a 3 buff start from Young Glory, which against this Lee Sin team would be super strong. Didn't come out here.
Yeah, didn't even see, you know, maybe an evade over to try and pick off Lee Sin in his side, or no pressure on that side either. So, I mean, No Name's going to have the levels he needs. He's going to have the ability to pressure in the mid lane. And if there's one thing about Zyra that is true, and it was true of Cassiopeia as well, which is, I guess, part of the reason we don't see much of either of those champions too much, is that despite all their strengths in lane and how good they are and how good their damage is and just everything about them, the one thing they're very susceptible to is ganks. They are really, really awful, especially when they don't have their flash.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong point there. I mean, Zyra obviously able to put out a bit of damage when she dies. You know, she does get the answering kill quite a lot. But look, Zhao Weizhao already regretting his kind of greedy start. I got to say that starting Doran's Ring 2 parts, pretty greedy against Zyra.
I'd have to agree there. I mean, he's not paying for it too much in CS, but obviously all that CS he's actually getting is costing him a lot of damage there, and he's actually gone back and get a Sapphire Crystal here. I guess he couldn't afford... Yeah, gets a potion as well, which is nice, but he probably couldn't afford the Ruby Crystal, so going to build up towards that Catalyst. I mean, you know, he's going to miss a couple CS here. Zyra very good at pushing as well, so going to push that next wave into the turret there and deny a couple off there from Cassidy. If Zhao Weizhao can navigate, you know, these first few levels and not die, especially if No Name comes in and has something to say about it, then could be looking a little better here. But double Doran's now up, and looks like bottom lane. It's going to have a trade here back and forth. Good dodge of the bubble there from Love Cryby, looking for the hook, but everybody gets out of the way there. And it looks like everyone will just trade back and forth here. In fact, Avenger getting in there, I believe, cancelled the last auto attack. Didn't proc Silver Bolts. Always frustrating.
Absolutely. And look, if Cassidy gets through laning phase now with his current buy to level 6, the Doran's, you know, the greedy money spent on an item that is very useful as the game goes on will feel great, but it just feels, as we see Lee Sin come in.
Lee Sin now into Yansu. This is exactly what they need. The pressure through Zyra. Maybe going to get out there, but flash auto attack from No Name to clean it up. Maybe for the trade there as the Zyra passive comes in. Can't quite get it as Otto picks up Dreams, though. Very nice moves there from Shen. Couldn't quite get that kill, unfortunately, but Kennen gets ignited. Yes, gets ignited there, I believe, and dies around the same time the gank in mid happens there as well. So a trade there on either side as we get the kills up to 1-1, but that is exactly what I was talking about. The one problem with Zyra, especially when there's a jungle like Lee Sin, is that you get ganked, you usually die.
And not even a snowball laner, but just a snowball champion is Kassadin. So now being able to be ahead in levels here, I feel like Young Glory needs a plan to deal with this Kassadin, because as you pointed out before, once that silence duration gets up, I believe it hits 2.6 seconds at level 9 if it's max first. I mean, Zyra's not going to be able to lane.
Bottom lane there. Good bubble. Double bubble actually gets both there. And YG now is actually taking quite a bit of damage. LMQ trying to make things happen, but Nami's forced to flash. Avenger picks up the kill there onto Dragon. Exactly what they wanted. And a very, very nice play there from Nami to make sure they stayed alive long enough. They've been aggressively trading all lane here down the bottom lane. And finally, Avenger comes up trumps with a kill.
Yeah, very, very nice play. Good micro there from Avenger to pick up the kill there. Needed every auto to guarantee that kill. I thought the Thresh and Twitch consistent damage would pull up trumps, but Vayne gets ahead in that lane. That's also a bad sign if you're a Young Glory fan.
Yeah, but now No Name down the bottom. Flash from Avenger has to get out of the way of that hook, but No Name's going to try and turn it around. Love Krabba's very, very low. Doesn't quite get the slow. Actually, I think he may have got crippled up there, and a good block there from Sis, but a condemn into the wall. That's going to mean somebody's dead. Avenger going in. One more auto attack. Does get it. And manages to tank up just enough damage there to not go down. So very, very nice play. And really, No Name here, they wish they'd held him a little longer, I think, because Lee Sin is doing work right now.
And if you're looking at this game on paper, you'd put the Thresh Twitch lane in the books, especially against a very, very weak.
Here's the kill from earlier as well. A good taunt there on the top lane. Massive, massive damage there from Sizz, by the way.
And damage ganks, they're almost a relic of the past, but when they come off right there, they look very, very impressive. And Young Glory consistently leading the way with Shyvana play.
The double Doran's Blade flash quick bite twin bite, was a lot of damage there to that cannon. He did not expect shenanigans like that, but I mean they had to use a lot there up in the top lane. YG will be happy that they're at least ahead in that lane, but I think the important lanes here not going well for them. Both the late game carriers here in Kassadin and Vayne looking good early on here in this one.
Absolutely. I mean Thresh Twitch versus Vayne Nami is definitely early to mid game. Of course, Twitch has his late game scaling, but Nami Vayne is very much a late game lane, and it's winning here. And in the mid lane, Kassadin should have been punished till after that level 6, but a pre-6 kill coming out for Zhao Wei Zhao. Risky times for the other lanes, unfortunately. Shyvana's going to have to do a lot of work to get them through the laning phase.
Yeah, and I liked the theory from YG. I think it was, aggressively invade the Lee Sin, try and keep that pressure off, because the rest of your lanes you feel okay with for the most part. But, Shyvana, her counter jungling, not something we see really at all anymore, unfortunately. I mean, if they got a good maybe 3-buff start or just aggressively invaded, pick
the jungle's
off,
changed so much since PSG time. I mean, 50-second spawners. I mean, if you don't get that first buff, which just really isn't a reality anymore, counter jungling, look, it's still useful at times if the enemy's showing himself at the bottom, go and ruin his jungle. But stealing away jungle with that massive AoE, it's hard to ruin jungle when you're using the burnout as Shyvana.
Yeah, and sadly, that, which would have been absolutely fantastic in this game, is just not something that YG can get done as effectively as they might like. I mean, Shyvana now, very tanky, a great bruiser, plenty of damage as well, at basically very little cost in terms of damage items, but in terms of holding a Lee Sin, not really going to happen here. And Yancer getting poked there by Wei Zhao. Or Zhao Wei Zhao, I should say, before we get too confused. I mean, Kassadin,
2.6 seconds silence.
Cry-bye. Goodbye, my friend. Going to get kicked back there. Beautiful combo in there for that one. And Stand United's going to come in. Shen will not come to the party this time around. So a wasted cooldown there for Otto. Perfect bubble once again there from Nami. And that was very, very rude there down the bottom. Poor Thresh.
This mid lane's only getting worse for Zyra here. So she's still able to have a slight CS advantage, but there's no buy that will help her get through, just dying during silence duration of Kassadin, which is a scary, scary thing.
Now Dragon happening as well here for LMQ. Rotating down towards that one. Avenger down the bottom, 1v1ing Dragon. Almost picks up that kill there. Now Kassadin's going to rotate towards the Dragon. They need a little bit more damage to clean this one up, but they do have a smite ready to go. They should be okay. Shyvana looking maybe for the steal, but too many members of LMQ. Not really worth the ultimate there. And Flash wasn't quite back for Shyvana either, so couldn't try to kind of get in and get out and look for that smite steal, so just backs off instead, which at this point probably the right play. The advantage here for LMQ looking nice here, 4-1 and kills, 2,000 gold ahead here in this one after picking up that Dragon. I mean, still certainly a close game here at 10 minutes, but LMQ, just the gold seems like it's in the right places and the momentum looks really good here. And I have to say, I'm very impressed by No Name's pressure.
And the hyper carry CS. Only marginally, but marginally ahead for both Caston and Vayne, as we see Caston going for his first roam of the match.
Yeah, and roaming on Caston, something that definitely very scary as well. Actually gets spotted there by Sizz, going to be forced to riff walk here as well, but can't be too unhappy with that. There's nobody else in the lane. Lee Sin's going to cover it off, actually, as Zyra walks back towards mid, and when when Caston's starting to leave lane and getting the farm out and really just looking to roam, then you're in a lot of trouble here. Lee Sin already is creating enough pressure. If Caston's there as well, then it could be very, very bad news here for YG.
And Caston has been able to use what his kit allows and have that early presence compared to the Shyvana. Shyvana has played well, absolutely, but Lee Sin has a ganker's kit, and No Name's using it to great effect.
Yeah, and really needed to as well to kind of make sure the mid and bottom lanes didn't go too wrong too quickly. I mean, Dreams is having an okay game up in the top. He obviously died after that Shyvana gank. In fact, the only Shyvana gank really at this point, and the only kill that YG have on the board. But, Dreams is CSing well. He can't be too unhappy with this matchup. We actually saw it, I think, sometime during last week. I can't remember which day exactly, but Kennen definitely feels very comfortable in that matchup for a long, long time until Shen really gets ahead on farm. Looks like those Zyra are going to come through there. Good roof walk out of the way. Sizz running through there as well. One more there from Caston to get him out, and part of the reason Caston is just so frustrating is that he can pretty much blink out of anything. Dreams in the top line. They're looking to get up auto. Will flash out for the last auto as Ignite's ticking down, and that's a nice 1v1 there for Dreams. So now even the top lane for LMQ looking very nice.
Yeah, and the first giant spell is usually when Shen starts to get ahead in that lane. And he goes back with a massive first buy. I mean, turning giant spell into Sunfire Cape is an expensive
There's
thing.
The Q there. No Name again coming in looking for it, but good box there coming through as well. Number they're looking to make it happen. Final hour activated there for Avenger. The damage from the tower massive there as Dragon's going to pick up one kill there. Lee Sin possibly down here as well, but not quite low enough. And now Xiao Zhao's rotating down. LMQ maybe could make something happen here, but a very maybe overzealous dive there from LMQ and some calm under pressure there from YG nets them a kill.
It's just amazing to see a giant spell turned into Sunfire Cape, and just the Boots Doran's was too strong for the Shen there, now turned into most of the bits of Azonia's.
So things looking nice here in the top lane as well now for LMQ. Bottom lane, things went a little sour there. Poor Nami ended up tanking a few too many tower hits, and she sadly cannot take too many of those, so that is going to be the kill there as well. I mean, I like what No Name did there. I think the dive was probably nice, but a good defensive box there from Thresh to kind of get everyone out of the way, and then at that point they were kind of committed a little too hard, and unfortunately that is going to give YG the second kill of the game. So LMQ can't be happy with that, but I'll continue on here, and still looking good here in this game.
And the next dragon, if we do see Kennen and Shen rotate towards it, will be super interesting. Even though Zyra's behind, they do have that AoE potential between Zyra, Twitch, the box, and of course Shyvana. So I do like the AoE team fight at Dragon, but I mean Kennen, he's big. If he freshly shops and gets a Zhonya and shows up at a team fight, he could be dominant just on his own.
Yep, it looks like Zyra going to pick up blue buff here. Dream's actually very low in the top lane, going to get himself picked up there. Otto and be like, hey, I got a Sunfire Cape, what are you going to do about it? And just calmly 1v1's Kennen there on the top. Down the bottom, tower going to go down as well as Lee Sin picks up that one.
But look at Cassidon pastry time.
Otto there is going to have to try and get out of the way. Silence there after the taunt. The slow there in there as well as the Force Pulse comes out. He's going to try and make something happen. No silence left. Very smart stand united out there from Shen. And Otto managed to get himself out. Even going to push down here. Probably needs to run away. Oh, never mind. No Name's here as well. They defend him though. The Zyra all coming through. He's kicked back towards the tower, but it's not enough. The damage there looking good, but Xiao finally picks him up there after roaming back down towards the bottom. No Name in as well there onto Ziz. The slow's coming in there. Another slow in there. Tidal Wave around the side. Will slow up Ziz as well, but his Dragons are sent out as Shyvana's going to get cleanly out of the mid lane there using that ultimate. I mean, a cute play there from Shen. It's kind of like teleporting out from under a gank when you have that summoner spell, but not enough there, unfortunately. It was just, probably going to die no matter what happened there.
It was a smooth move, Patreon. He probably felt great when he got to mid, but then, of course, the tricky Lee Sin showed up just to ruin his day.
And Xiao was rotating there as well. So, I mean, there was a small window for Shen to get away there, and Lee Sin basically shut that one, so wasn't going to happen there. Hey, I'll give credit where credit's due. It was certainly a cool play. And nice to see Otto kind of had the foresight to be like, you know what, you don't have a silence anymore. I can actually get away with this.
Now, importantly, the Stand United will not be up for the Dragon, which, according to the timer here, a minute away. So
I'm going to see this again. His Dreams, though, going to get himself taken out. Just so much damage from that Shen. And Sunfire Cape is off flash auto for the last bit. And Kennen really, he's a champion that loves benefiting from his range, benefits from a highly disruptive ultimate, and can really lightning rush and stay away from you most of the time. If you get taunted up like that, you're not going anywhere. And that was a very nice 1v1 there from Otto.
Important to note that he is building for team fights rather than for the lane. Obviously, for the lane, there'll be other items that be just a bit more effective in terms of laning. But if he has that Zhonya's for the next dragon, especially with Stannionitis being down, I think it's more important that he has the team fight presence than just the laning presence.
I'd agree. It's just one of those things where I think Dreams didn't realize that, hey, the lane's actually tipping towards Shen here. And I mean, Sunfire Cape Shen is no joke, and that one taunt really just managed to do a number there as Xiao Weizhou going to return to mid, try and clean out some of these creeps, and here we go. I mean, Kassadin farm, he's actually behind Zyra on farm, who has Boots of Mobility for some reason that I can't quite fathom. But Dragon is now going to get started by LMQ, and they're going to probably pick this one up pretty comfortably.
Yep, no Shen ultimate available, even with the Boots ability. Zyra not fast enough to get to the engagement, and doesn't have a completed AP item yet, which kind of hurting for items here.
Yeah, I mean, almost has an Abyssal up, has those Boots mobility as I noted as well, but finish Rod of Ages, Sork shoots there on Xiao Weizhou, as Dragon does get picked up there as well. Thresh looked for the hook steal, but didn't quite get there. In fact, Lee Sin even miss-smited just in case, but Avenger managed to get the last hit in there as well. You can see Kassadin looking towards the top lane, trying to get a little more aggressive there for that one. And Dreams, I think, smartly back there when he needed to around that Dragon, went back to pick up his Zhonya's, and if he needed to, I think he would have ran down the bottom lane. Or towards bottom, I should say.
And definitely.
Dreams here in the top, just going to keep CSing up. Shyvana's actually here as well, so they might be trying to set something up. At least Sin's now here as well, so 2v2 action could happen. Dreams going to go for the ult lane there, he needs to do his ultimate. Good taunt though, going to prevent a bit from coming, but there's the Zhonya's through as well. Otto now going to get stunned up. That's a great W there as well, as the Electrical Surge comes out, and the miss there not going to matter too much. Kicked into the wall for the mini stun there by Lee Sin, and a very, very nice play there from Cannon. Realizing the situation he was in, baited a little too hard there as Dragon here, very low down the bottom. Forced to avoid a Nami bubble. Avenger bladed the Ruin King. We're going to go very deep here. The final hour activated as well. Avenger flashing forward as well and popping the barrier. I love Cryboy now in trouble. And he will go down. No, not quite. Yes, he does. The shield there keeping Thresh long enough to make sure the tower gets the trade kill. But very, very nice play there overall. And very aggressive from Avenger on that vein.
But the hyper carries are starting to roll pastry time. Young Glory have to make something happen. They do have nice AoE. They can win a team fight, but this long laning phase is hurting them.
Yeah, it is. Kassadin's picking up farm where he needs to. Vayne is as well. Bladed the Ruin King finished there. Zeal up as well. I do like the quick Infinity Edge here, I think, from Dragon. I mean, I'm almost always going to say that in a matchup where Twitch feels behind. I don't know if Dragon feels like he was this behind quite so early on, or if he's just maybe picking for the team fight, because that's definitely something that YG could do here as well, is just try and group and make something else happen. But I don't know, Infinity Edge is interesting to me, especially now that he has a Bilgewater Cutlass. I guess he couldn't quite decide either what he wanted.
And look, both those items will be coming out eventually. I actually do agree with you. I did like the Infinity Edge pickup just because with such a high mobility mid laner like Kassadin, the Twitch playstyle of just trying to ambush in and, you know, pop that Blade of the Ruin King and try and pick up trade kills, even with the Shen pressure, it's probably a bit too risky just because Kassadin clearly ahead here, clearly snowballing a bit. You don't really want to be side pushing too much against a champion like Kassadin who can just chase you down for days. So I did like the Infinity Edge there, but both items will come out. The gold value wasn't quite there to complete either, so it's put in the middle.
Yeah, so Cannon going to pick up that top tower. Immediately everybody rotates to pick up mid tower, so now 3-1 in turrets there for LMQ. Doing well on that front there as well, and really there's this farm to be had almost anywhere, and LMQ, if they want to, can really start forcing fights. They have that Cannon with Zhonya's ready to go. They've got Kassadin picking up more items. They've got Vayne picking up more items as Cass himself comes back with a needlessly large rod now, probably maybe building a Zhonya's of his own. Could just go towards the Rabadons in there as well. But I mean, LMQ, they've got a decent lead here actually as we look up 5,000 gold ahead already as we approach 19 minutes and 20 seconds in this game.
And we would have anticipated.
Oh, no name. Good kick there into Yancer. Going deep into the Dark Passage down. So the title over there for the follow. Dreams around the back there with the ultimate to really get everybody going. And Love Crybo goes down there to Avengers. Avengers looking to find the spots here to get him for the damage. He's going to actually chase on a Dragon here. It's very aggressive. Almost too aggressive, actually. As it looks like he will go down here despite the ebb and flow from Nami to try and keep him alive. And a big misplay there from LMQ getting a little too aggressive. They're going to turn it around though. Xiao Weizhou still alive here on Kassadin. Could make something happen here. But Nami's getting chased around here. Kassadin's a little low on mana, got about a third left. There's the follow-up here. The taunt comes in though as well, picks up Nami for that one, but the 1v2 still possible here for Kassadin with all that mobility. I think the Riftwalk a little too high a cooldown, just going to have to get out of the way here. And that was, as I said, a little interesting there for LMQ. It feels a little sloppy from Yancer there. From No Name. He went a little too deep.
Absolutely. He did try to make a superstar play. It didn't work out there. I mean, they don't surrender too much of a lead here. They're still about 5k out, but they can't afford too many more engages like that.
No, and unfortunately, Rift Walk, it's a great spell, but that mana really does tick up after you use it a million times over. So, well, Xiao Zhao there, he maybe, if he had more items or had a bigger mana pool, I mean, basically if his build was a little further along, I think he comfortably 1v2s in that situation. But instead, just manages to save his life. YG come out slightly better on that end of the trade, but again, still a nice lead here for LMQ. And looks like Zhonya's is the pickup here for Kassadin.
And look, Zhonya's could be super, super useful here, just because if he ever gets turned on, if he goes for an aggressive Rift Walk and gets turned on by Twitch, for example, the ability to go into stasis to negate some of that damage and then reposition with that short cooldown on the Rift Walk. Very, very useful for Xiao Zhao.
You can definitely, kind of Rift Walk bait people with Zhonya's, almost like you do with a Twisted Fate port, and, Rift Walk aggressively and maybe throw out a spell or two to poke, and when they kind of descend upon you, Zhonya's, and then let your team catch up and initiate that way. So it is definitely a very, very useful item on Kassadin, but I do like the pick up there for Xiao Zhao. Looks like Phantom Dancer, the pick up here as well for Vayne, which does make a lot of sense, and I imagine we'll see IE at some point. Either third or fourth, although probably wants the last Whisper at some point here. So LMQ just down the bottom trying to defend off their turrets here. Vayne actually up in the top lane picking up CS where she can. Shyvana pushing out the mid there for YG as well, as the rest of LMQ kind of running down towards this bottom lane to try and defend things off. But YG really at this point what they need, what is almost always the case at 20 minutes around the game when you don't have too many of them, is towers. They are very, very short on room to move on this map.
And Twitch is in an awkward spot here. He just used the ultimate because they was worried about the engage potential down bot. Has his ult down, has to go back and shot because he's still caught between two items.
Oh, good hook there on Dynami. Goodbye, my friend. Doesn't even finish the tidal wave there. None him in the top, kicks Yanto back, and that is actually going to be the kill that manages to safeguard out of there as well. So a nice little one-for-one trade there. Actually pick up the mid laner there, which is probably a decent trade, but they still have to be careful. LMQ don't want to overextend too far into this YG team, but Xiao Zhao just poking back and forth there. Could be a battle of the smites here. Lee Sin gets the better end of that one, and a nice little steal there from Lee. Lee is certainly a champion that's hard to outsmite with that Q.
And look, that was good aggressive play from LMQ. They couldn't have had complete tabs on Twitch. They weren't sure where he was. They knew his ultimate was down, however. And of course, Twitch's ultimate's such a strong part of his kit in those team fights in the small areas. So went for the aggressive move, picked up the dragon, vindicated from LMQ.
Yeah, and IE up for that Twitch now as well. So I guess the mystery's kind of solved here. Obviously, we'll build a Blade of the Ruined King. Probably is the next item here, but has a lot of power actually right now, does this Twitch. So a nice little jump there for Dragon.
Well, I mean, it's a huge jump, Beisha. I mean, the bits of a Blade of the Ruined King. I mean, Bilge Ward is nice, but the next 1800 gold is kind of a pain to finish the item. And Infinity Edge, I mean, that passive is just so, so strong. So he was caught between two very strong items, but has one of them completed now.
Has arguably the strongest of the two as well. Looks like Phantom Dance is finished up for Vayne as well. So Avengers build coming on nicely here. Double Zhonya's, as you can see, completed now for LMQ as Kassadin finishes his up. And I have to say, LMQ just really keeping a nice hold on this game. They very nice aggressive play around the Dragon to keep that one going. The slight misstep before against YG in that last team fight will probably not be their proudest moment. But, Kassadin's going on. Vayne's going well. I think probably the scariest thing is that I like YG's team late as well, but I'd just be very, very afraid of Kassadin Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. Like, I mean, Kassadin late game, he doesn't need a lot of items to tick in. It's just that max mana, and then, of course, the AP. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, No Name taunted in there as well. Shyvana actually kicked out there, I think. Very nice move there from No Name. Completely counters off the initiation around the back. Actually looks like Xiao Zhao going in there. Dreams actually with the Zhonya's there after ulting there. Round the back there to try and get stuff done. Xiao Zhao now going in as well. Back in on Kassadin to try and poke them down. Avenger over the top. Very, very aggressive there as a 4-man Force Pulse comes out for the slow there on Kassadin. A nice title over there as well for the follow. Even No Name getting back in there aggressively with the slow to get it done, and an ace there for LMQ as Yancey will finally tick away. That passive goes down. Kind of funny to see carries playing aggressively, but that worked beautifully there for LMQ.
An ace out of a re-engage, flash re-engaged by the AD carry, as you say, pastry time. Insane play from Avenger there. He just timed so well, knew what cooldowns were down, and went in at just the perfect time. And the Zyra ult, crucially there, pastry time, hit nobody. I mean, the lightning rush came out from Kennen, so he was available to peel off from there, and they pick up a Baron from it.
And here comes Dreams around the back once again in instant replay. You can see really disrupting there, buying time for his team around the side. Now Xiao Zhao poking in, Avenger doing damage to Yanto. As you can see, the Zyra ult trying to cut off that choke, but can't quite get it done here. And that Avenger just very aggressively flashing over, and that beautiful 4-man slow into Tidal Wave. That was an amazing bit of CC there. Great teamwork from LMQ.
And it's important that it's an AP Zyra pastry time. They're counting on that ultimate. It's not just a really nice control ultimate from support. It's one of their key team fight moves, and it whiffed.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the funny thing about Stranglethorns. It does its damage instantly, which is usually a good thing, but of course when it hits nobody, you don't feel too good about it. And unfortunately there, Yansa couldn't get that ultimate out there onto Zyra, and honestly is still very, very starved in this game for items. Abyssal Scepter, Boots of Mobility, Blasting Wand is not what you want to be having at 26 minutes.
It's the same with Twitch pastry time. Just having the bits of a Blade the Ruin King here, that 1,000 gold is the difference between one of the best items in the game, that active that gives you so many stats, the heal, the self-peel, the potential dueling capability compared to just a bit of attack speed, and a very nice Bilge Water. I mean, Bilge Water Cutlass is a lovely item to build as an AD carry, but a big difference there. I mean, look at Vayne here. She's got her triple damage items.
Yeah, Last Whisper completed up now as well, so Avenger looking good to really just do damage, and if Vayne does one thing well, it is probably damage. Here's LMQ going to rotate down towards this bottom turret now. They got the Baron buff as well, so everything's looking nice. Going to be able to push down here, really drive this advantage home. They're almost 10,000 gold up in this one as well. So looking in a commanding position to close out this game and pick up a win for themselves here on day 1 of week 4 of the LPL. But YG, they may have something left here. If they can get some fun where they need it, they could be okay, as Otto going to get slowed up there by Kassadin. But I mean, at this point, this is a train that's hard to stop. They're actually going to grab Avenger. That's good moves there. Dreams are over the top. The Tidal Wave in there as well. Damage coming through. No name flashes out there as well. And Avenger, crucially still alive here, now doing damage, chasing people down. Going to take one last turret hit, but an ebb and flow from Nami keeps him alive for just long enough. And a 3-for-0 trade with members of LMQ bleeding red as Avenger once again playing very aggressively. But there's the lifesteal coming back up. Vayne now back up to a 3rd health, and they're going to continue pushing down the turrets here. The Baron regen, still in full effect, and we may see the inhibitor turret go down here as well in mid.
Just no answers to Vayne and Kassadin and Kennen coming in. There's no real disengage here. I mean, Love Cryball's ultimate, very, very strong. The Stranglethorns should be, the complete answer to this LMQ comp, but it just doesn't have any oomph behind it. So they're really, really struggling to have any control in team fights, and it feels like even if the hero hook there, and Love Cryboy couldn't have asked for a better initiation. Under the turret, it should have been perfect, but they didn't have the damage to take him down. They didn't have the damage items completed. And LMQ win what should have been just a terrible, terrible situation for them.
Yeah, and a nice fight there. I think showcasing the power as well of Ken and Nami, that is a lot of massive disruptive AoE that comes through, and it sets up your 2 hyper carries absolutely perfectly for Kassadin and Vayne. So really, really nice stuff there. This comp is actually really, really cool from LMQ. It's like, okay, we have 2 disruptive big ultimates to kind of support here. Kennen has the added benefit of doing a decent amount of damage as well, which is nice. We have our 2 aggressive hyper carries, and we support them with a very aggressive jungler that transitions decently towards the late game into being more of a utility support style jungler. Like, it kind of looks a little funky when you look at it, and we're kind of worried, how are they going to lane this? But assuming that you can get through the laning phase, it's a really, really cool comp here from LMQ.
And 5 champions with mobility or mobility modifiers against a very immovable Twitch who's behind this game and doesn't really have peel is a really bad spot for YG here. Kennen will get in there aggressively with his Lightning Rush and then go into stasis, but Lee Sin, Kassadin, and Vayne, and of course the Nami able to speed up with every ability she hits or empowers her teammates with. They're just rushing in, and Twitch cannot survive.
No, and it's kind of the difference between the 2 hyper carries, that Vayne just not only has more items, quite obviously, but has team support to just free hit people, and Twitch just does not have the same luxury, unfortunately. Blue buff going to get stolen away now as well by LMQ. Really, really just driving the hammer in right now. We'll see what YG can get done. No Name always looks tricky. Always looking for spots to make some plays here. I think he wants to get on the highlight reel. But the wave clear here is massive. Kassadin is huge right now. He's got Rabadon's finished up as well. LMQ just in general are huge. They're now well and truly 10,000 gold ahead in this game.
And no repeat glorious hook's going to come out here pastry time as we see the Quicksilver Sash picked up on Avenger.
Yeah, Avengers doesn't want any more of those shenanigans happening. Now it's ready to get out of the 1cc at a moment's notice. I mean, even something like a Flash Shenton, which you normally associate with being very, very good in that situation, also now not possible with that QSS ready to go. And YG forced to back away from that tier 2 turret. There's nothing they can do to defend it. Going to try and defend it, their inhibitor turret. Instead, the super minions are pushing in. The bottom wave's pushing in as well. And LMQ, you have to think, are probably moving in for the last few minutes of this game here. Otto going to try and make it happen. There's a Shirelli's actually tidal wave re-engage just to try and make sure the rest of YG don't come in. Buying time for that tower. I think maybe was hoping they group up there and try to initiate on Shen, but YG actually didn't want to follow up in there. But no name in the back there as well. Dreams coming forward as well. Wei Xiao flashing forward in there as well. And Sizman just trying to get in, but he can't walk through all the AoE. It's too much. And the damage here is absolutely massive. Avenger again, obscenely aggressive here on this Vayne. Just always chasing people down. The answer is going to try and 1v1 and looking for the fountain, but does pop it there as Avenger gets the kill out onto Zyra. And that's going to be the game here in the week 4, day 1 of the Tencent LPL Summer. It's been a long day of play. Some great games here so far, but the surrender vote there from YG will leave it done, and LMQ pick up the last win of the day here.
And the hyper carries Pastry Time, they won the early game. We were confident about them in the late game, and they showed us why. Well, just a beautiful play there. LMQ, a much needed win there to kind of open up a little bit of breathing room from YG. They now sit at 4-6 compared to YG's 3-7. But we leave the first day of the LPL here with OMG reigning supreme. They've answered the challenge of all of the real top teams here and come out 9-1 after 10 matches.
And I guess the question is, as we continue, can anybody stop OMG? I guess we'll have to see. Day 2 will be back tomorrow, of course, so you can check that out. And of course, if you want to check out any of the other games from today, you can go over to youtube.com/lolchamp series and check those out. For today here, week 4, day 1, we are done. My name is Pastry Time for Papa Smithy, signing off for the Tencent LPL Summer.